There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the light begins to dim and all that once made sense starts to crumble into silence. You wake up one morning and the weight of existence sits heavy upon your chest. The laughter feels hollow, the dreams feel distant, and the mirror no longer reflects the person you thought you were. You begin to wonder, why does life hurt so much? Why does the road to peace seem paved with pain? And why does it feel like the closer you reach for God, the more He hides behind the veil of your suffering? Close your eyes, take a breath, listen. That ache in your heart, that quiet trembling inside your soul, is not a mistake. It is the sound of something sacred being born. Suffering, the word itself carries weight. It is the wilderness no one wants to enter. Yet it is the only place where the false self is stripped away and the soul learns to see. Every tear you've cried has been counted. Every heartbreak, every sleepless night, every whispered prayer you thought no one heard was not wasted. For in the depth of your pain, a teacher was waiting. You see, the darkness you run from is the very soil of your awakening. Every wound carries within it the seed of your transformation. Pain was never here to punish you. It was here to purify you, to reveal the strength you forgot you carried, to bring you face to face with the God who dwells within your brokenness. Many of us spend years trying to escape the ache. We numb it, hide it, reason with it, build identities to cover it. But pain is patient. It waits. It waits until you stop running, until you have no choice but to turn around and face yourself. And in that moment, when there's nowhere left to hide, you discover something miraculous. The very thing you thought would destroy you was the hand of God reshaping you. It is through suffering that the soul begins to listen, because only when the noise of the world grows unbearable do we finally fall into silence. And only in silence can we hear the whisper of eternity speaking through the cracks of our heart. There is a sacred intelligence woven into every season of pain. When you lost what you loved, when the door closed, when the person left, when your plans collapsed, those were not punishments. They were initiations. Each heartbreak was a doorway. Each disappointment was a calling to look deeper, to see what remains when everything falls away. Close your eyes again. Take another breath. Now feel your chest rise and fall. Feel the subtle rhythm of life moving through you. Even now, in your pain, the divine has not left you. God is not somewhere far away, waiting for you to fix yourself. He is here, in the quiet spaces of your grief. He sits beside you in the midnight silence, listening to your unspoken prayers. He is not the absence of pain. He is the presence within it. What have I told you? That your suffering is sacred? That the ache you despise is actually the hand of the divine, reaching through your resistance to guide you home? Would you still curse the storm? If you knew it was cleansing your soul, would you still fear the fire? If you knew it was burning away everything that is not you? Suffering has a strange way of undoing the illusions we've built around love, around life, around God. It tears down the walls we built to feel safe, so that we might finally be free. Because what you call breaking, God calls awakening. Maybe you've been praying for light, but sometimes light doesn't arrive as sunshine. Sometimes it arrives as thunder, as loss, as silence, as the long night that humbles your heart and teaches you to listen again. Because in the breaking, you are being reshaped into the vessel that can hold the truth of who you really are. You're not being punished. You're being purified. Every painful season is an alchemy, a transformation happening from the unseen. Just as the caterpillar dissolves before it becomes the butterfly, you too must pass through your own dissolving. Everything that is not aligned with truth must fall away. And that falling, that grief, that emptiness, that surrender is where your true self is born. Close your eyes once more. Take a deep breath. Now ask yourself, what if I stopped running from a pain? What if, instead of resisting it, I sat with it and listened? You might hear something holy. You might feel the faint hum of grace breathing through the cracks of your being. You might discover that what you called suffering was never against you. It was working for you, guiding you, refining you, loving you in disguise. For there is no awakening without the wilderness, no resurrection without the cross, no wholeness without the breaking. Your suffering is not the end. It is the beginning of your becoming. And so, as we begin this journey together, this sacred exploration of the self, of God, of the soul's refinement through pain, let this truth settle deep within you. You are not broken. You're being built. You're not lost. You're being led. And the fire that surrounds you is not here to consume you. It is here to reveal you. May you walk through your darkness with open eyes. May you see the wisdom hidden in your wounds. And may you come to know, beyond all fear, that the hand of God was guiding you all along. Every soul must one day sit at the feet of suffering and learn what no book can teach. That pain, when surrendered to, becomes the most faithful teacher of all. And so we begin, when suffering becomes the teacher. Chapter 1. The Call of Suffering. There is a moment in every life when silence turns heavy and the weight of your own thoughts feels too much to bear. It begins quietly, a restlessness, a longing you cannot name, a hollow ache that hums beneath every laughter, every distraction, every surface joy. You look around, everything seems the same, yet something within you has shifted. The things that once satisfied you now leave you empty. The people you once clung to no longer fill the void. You start to feel like a stranger inside your own life. You try to escape it. You run toward noise, toward routine, toward comfort, but nothing stays long enough to fill the silence. And deep down, you begin to realize the ache isn't a curse, it's a calling. The emptiness is not a void to be feared, but a doorway waiting to open. It is the whisper of your soul saying, there is more. Every time your heart breaks, it is trying to break open. Every time you lose something you thought you couldn't live without, it is grace removing what no longer serves your awakening. This is the ache within, the first sacred invitation of suffering, the gentle knock of God on the door of your heart, asking if you are ready to see yourself. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Let your shoulders soften. Now, feel the heaviness you carry, the silent tension in your chest, the memories that sting, the unspoken fears that linger beneath your breath. You don't need to fix them right now. Just notice them. Let them exist in your awareness, without judgment, without resistance. This is where healing begins, not in escape, but in presence. For the soul does not awaken through denial. It awakens through acceptance. Sometimes the ache is the only teacher that can reach you. When your mind has grown too loud, when your ego has built too many walls, pain becomes the only language. The soul has left to speak. It speaks not to destroy you, but to bring you home. The noise of the mind. There is a storm that lives inside every human being. The storm of overthinking, the noise of fear, the echo of the past. We spend our days lost in mental chatter, building worlds out of worry, stories out of scars. We cling to control, as if certainty could save us. We try to make sense of everything. Why it happened, why it hurt, why it didn't go the way we planned. But suffering begins the moment we try to control what was meant to change us. The mind wants answers, but the soul seeks understanding. The mind wants to fix, but the soul wants to feel. And so, the battle begins between the one that fears the fall and the one that knows falling is the only way to fly. Close your eyes again. Listen. Can you hear the thoughts rushing through you like a river? The what ifs, the why me, the I should have known. Let them flow. You don't have to stop them. You only have to see them. For awareness is the light. That dissolves illusion. The more you watch the mind, the more you realize you're not it. You're the space in which the thoughts appear. You are the silence beneath the storm. When you become still enough to watch your suffering, instead of being consumed by it, you begin to taste freedom, because suffering cannot survive in the presence of awareness. It feeds on identification, on your belief that you are the pain. But you are not the pain. You are the presence witnessing it. Pain says, I am the end. God says, no, you're being reborn. Pain says, you have been forsaken. God whispers, I have never left you. Suffering is the sound of your old self collapsing. The noise you hear is the resistance of the false identity, fighting to stay alive. Let it die. Let the noise lose its power, because in the stillness that follows, you will hear something you have long forgotten, the voice of your soul, the sound of peace, the voice you tried to silence. Every soul carries a voice within, a soft, subtle guidance that whispers through intuition, through longing, through the quiet pull of the heart. But for most of your life, you ignored it. You followed the noise instead of the whisper. You sought validation instead of truth. You tried to build a life based on what the world called success. And when it all began to crumble, you mistook the falling for failure. But the collapse was grace. It was God's mercy dismantling the illusions that kept you asleep. When everything you built begins to fall apart, don't curse the breaking. Listen, there's a voice hidden within the ruins, the one you try to silence, because it scared you with its truth. That voice doesn't shout. It never forces. It only calls, again and again, until one day, in your exhaustion, you finally listen. And when you listen, you begin to remember. You were never alone in your pain. You were never abandoned in your darkness. God was there, in every tear you shed, in every breath that trembled through your body, in every silent cry that rose from your chest. He was not waiting at the end of your suffering. He was suffering with you, through you, for you. Close your eyes one last time. Take a slow, deep breath. Now ask yourself quietly, what is this pain trying to teach me? What part of me is ready to be seen? Don't rush for answers. Let the questions linger in your heart like a prayer. Because when you finally stop demanding explanations, you make space for revelation. Suffering is not a punishment. It is a purification. It burns away everything false until only truth remains. And though it feels like dying, it is in truth the beginning of life. The call of suffering is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to wake you up. It is the voice of God calling you through the only doorway you could not ignore, the doorway of pain. Answer the call, walk through the fire, and you will discover that it was never meant to burn you, only to reveal the gold within you. When the ache calls, do not turn away. Do not drown it in noise. Do not rush to escape. For it is written in the secret language of the soul that what you avoid will pursue you, but what you embrace will transform you. Your pain is not the enemy. It is the invitation. And if you listen long enough, you will hear the voice of God echoing through your wounds, saying softly, this too is me. Chapter 2, The Battle Within. Wrestling with shadows. There comes a point when the ache turns into a battle. You wake up each morning, carrying invisible weight, a storm inside your chest, a war no one else can see. You smile in the daylight, but your nights are full of questions. You pray for peace, yet your thoughts will not let you rest. You are torn between two worlds, the one you show to others and the one that trembles within. You wonder why it hurts so much to change, why healing feels like breaking, why every attempt to surrender feels like losing yourself. But hear this truth: what you are fighting is not life. It's the false self that refuses to die. You are wrestling with your shadows, the parts of you that still cling to old pain, the patterns that once kept you safe, but now keep you small. The ego does not go quietly. It resists surrender. It fears the silence, because silence is where it dissolves. So it fights back through overthinking, through guilt, through the desperate need for control. But this battle is not a curse. It is your initiation into awakening. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a slow, deep breath. Now listen. Can you feel the tension in your body? That pull between holding on and letting go? Don't rush to fix it. Just observe. Let the tension teach you. Because every war inside you is asking for one thing only: awareness. When you see your shadows, without judgment, they begin to lose their power. There is light even in your darkness. The pain that haunts you is a teacher disguised as an enemy. It shows you the places where you have forgotten to love yourself. You are not fighting the darkness. You are learning to embrace it. You are learning that even your shadows belong to the story of your becoming. Sometimes the greatest spiritual battles are fought in silence, between your old identity and your emerging soul. And in that sacred war, the only true victory is surrender, the prison of control. We all want to feel safe. We build our walls of control, plans, routines, expectations, the illusion that if we can just manage everything, we won't have to face the unknown. But the unknown is where God lives. Control is the armor of fear. It protects you from uncertainty, but also blocks you from grace. Because grace does not flow where there is no surrender. You can spend your whole life trying to make things go your way, only to realize that the more you tighten your grip, the more life slips through your fingers. Suffering deepens when you refuse to let life move the way it needs to move. Sometimes God takes away your control, not to punish you, but to free you. He lets certain doors close so that you'll stop trying to build your kingdom in the sand. He lets people walk away so that you'll learn where your worth truly comes from. He allows the storm so that you can learn to trust the wind. Close your eyes. Take another slow breath. Now ask yourself, what are you still trying to control? What outcome do you cling to, as if your life depends on it? Let it rise. Let it come to the surface. Now imagine gently opening your hands, releasing it into God's light. Whisper quietly, I surrender what I cannot control. Every time you surrender, you make space for miracles, because surrender is not weakness. It is alignment. The moment you release your grip, you discover that you were never in charge to begin with. Life was always moving you toward what your soul needs, not what your ego wants. It takes faith to let go. It takes courage to trust what you cannot see. But in that trust, the battle ends, and peace begins. The fear of falling apart. What if everything you thought you were must fall apart for you to meet who you truly are? What if the breaking is not the end, but the sacred beginning? Fear tells you that if you let go, you'll lose yourself. But the truth is, you're not losing yourself. You're losing the false identities that never belonged to you. You're shedding the masks, the expectations, the self-images you built to feel accepted, to feel safe, to feel in control. God cannot fill what you keep pretending is full. He cannot heal what you keep hidden behind your strength. Sometimes He allows everything you cling to crumble so that you can finally see that what remains is what is real. Close your eyes again. Take a deep, slow breath. Feel your chest rise and fall. Feel the weight of everything that's collapsing in your life. Now, instead of resisting the fall, let yourself sink into it, as if you're being carried by something unseen. This is surrender, not giving up, but giving in to the flow of divine wisdom that knows what your mind cannot. Every collapse is sacred. Every unraveling is a holy dismantling of the illusions that once kept you blind. Falling apart is not failure. It is the sacred process of the false self dying, so the true self can be born. The soul does not grow in comfort. It grows in surrender. And sometimes surrender feels like breaking. But even in your breaking, you are held. Even in your falling, you are carried. God's arms are beneath your collapse. His grace is within your undoing. And though you cannot see it now, this falling is not your destruction. It is your deliverance. So, when you feel like you're losing everything, remember, you are losing only what was never truly yours. The love you are meant to know cannot be taken. The light you are meant to embody cannot be extinguished. And the self you are meant to become cannot be destroyed. This is the mystery of the battle within. The moment you stop fighting, you realize there was never an enemy at all. It was always God, disguised as the storm, calling you back to trust, to stillness, to himself. The battle within ends, not with victory, but with surrender. Not when you win against your pain, but when you open your heart wide enough to let grace enter it. And when you do, you realize that all along, you were never fighting life. You were fighting love. And love was always trying to set you free. Chapter 3, The God Within the Fire. There is a sacred truth that few are ready to accept. The fire you fear is the same fire that will free you. No soul awakens in comfort. No heart opens in the absence of heat. Transformation does not happen in the Garden of Ease, but in the furnace of surrender. You've asked for strength, and life gave you struggle. You prayed for patience, and life made you wait. You longed for peace, and life took away everything that kept you from stillness. This is the divine paradox. The answer rarely arrives in the form you expect. The flame does not come to destroy, but to refine. It burns away what is false, until only truth remains. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Imagine a small flame glowing in your chest, not burning you, but purifying you. With each breath, it consumes fear, greed, resentment, and pain. It transforms the heaviness into warmth, the ashes into light, the wound into wisdom. You have spent so long fearing the fire, but it was never your enemy. It was the sacred tool of your transformation. Because to be chosen, you must first be purified, and purification is never painless. Do not resist the heat. Let it do its holy work. Every trial, every heartbreak, every unanswered prayer was fire refining your faith. And though you do not see it now, what is being born within you is stronger than what is being burned away. The fire reveals. It exposes attachments. It strips illusions. It humbles the ego until nothing remains but the soul's naked truth, that all you are and all you have ever been is love, the hidden presence. There are seasons when God hides himself within your suffering, not because he has left you, but because he is teaching you to see beyond form. In the silence, he speaks. In the absence, he reveals. In the darkness, he is nearer than your own breath. When life falls apart, the mind screams, "Where is God?" But God does not answer from a sky. He answers from within. He whispers through the ache in your chest, through the stillness between your sobs, through the quiet moments when all your strength is gone. and you have nothing left but surrender. That's where he hides, not in the miracles that dazzle the eyes, but in the moments that humble the heart. When everything collapses, he is the one holding you up from within. When all the doors close, he is the one guiding you through the unseen passage. When you think you are forgotten, he is rewriting your destiny in silence. Close your eyes. Feel your breath moving in and out. You may not hear his voice, but he is there in the space between each inhale and exhale. He is not gone. He is hidden like gold beneath the soil, awaiting the hand of surrender to uncover him. Every sacred story begins in the dark. Moses found God in the wilderness. Elijah heard him not in the wind or the fire, but in a still small voice. And even Christ, in his moment of greatest agony, felt forsaken, only to rise in glory. So if you feel abandoned, you are in holy company. The silence you feel is not absence, it is preparation. When the divine hides, it is not rejection, it is invitation. It is God saying, "Come closer." Stop seeking me in the noise. Find me within. So when the fire rages, don't only look for escape, look for the presence within the flame. The same God who walks beside you in joy, walks within you in pain. And if you could see through the veil, you'd realize he never left. He simply changed form. The lesson of letting go. Nothing tests the soul like loss. The loss of what you loved, what you believed in, what you thought would last forever. But loss, too, is a language of grace. It is God's way of clearing space. For what is true, we cling to people, to dreams, to versions of ourselves that once brought comfort. And when they are taken, we think we have failed. We think God has turned his face away. But in truth, he is freeing us from what was never meant to hold us. Letting go is the highest act of faith. It is saying, I did not understand, but I trust. It is releasing your grip on what you wanted so that you can receive what your soul truly needs. Close your eyes again. Take a deep breath. Now, think of what you are still holding on to. That relationship, that plan, that version of your life that no longer fits. Gently whisper to it, "Thank you for what you taught me. I release you now. I make space for the new." Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means blessing the past and allowing it to return to light. You are not losing love. You are returning to its source. You are not losing control. You are stepping into trust. The flame burns away. What is no longer aligned with your destiny? The fire purifies. The silence clarifies. And the letting go sanctifies. And once the fire has done its work, you will look back and realize nothing real was ever lost. Only what was temporary burned away. What was eternal remained. So let go. Let all fall apart if it must. Let the fire take what it came to take. And as you stand among the ashes, you will find that you are still here. And somehow, you have become more whole. The fire that once terrified you has become your sanctuary, because now you understand. It was never there to destroy you. It was there to reveal you, to show you that within your breaking, God was breathing. Within your burning, he was birthing something eternal. You are the gold that the fire could not consume. You are the light that the darkness could not extinguish. You are the proof that grace survives even the fiercest flame. So when life sets your world ablaze, do not ask, why me? Ask, what is this fire trying to free within me? Because behind every flame is the gentle hand of the divine, refining your soul into the purest reflection of his light. And once you have walked through that fire, you will never fear the heat again, because you will know that even there, God was with you. Chapter 4. The silence that speaks. After the fire, there is quiet. The smoke rises slowly. The embers glow faintly, and the world feels both empty and infinite. You stand there, Bauda, stripped of everything that once defined you. The illusions have fallen away. The noise has been silenced. The striving has ended. And in that vast emptiness, you begin to hear something new. Not the voice of fear, not the echo of the past, but something softer, something sacred. At first, it's unsettling, because silence confronts you with all the things you try to outrun. But then, slowly, it begins to reveal its mercy. The silence that once felt like abandonment becomes a sanctuary. The emptiness that once terrified you becomes space for God to fill. Close your eyes. Listen, what you hear right now, that quiet hum beneath thought, beneath the beating of your heart. That's not emptiness. That's presence. It's the divine, breathing through stillness. You once searched for God in motion, in noise, in miracles that could be seen. But here, in the aftermath of the fire, you realize He was waiting in the quiet all along, because only in stillness can the soul finally listen. The death of the old self before the awakening. You thought silence was loneliness. Now you see, it is the deathbed of the false self, the one who needed validation, the one who lived in fear of being unseen, the one who clung to control, the one who mistook suffering for punishment. All of them begin to dissolve here, not in a flash of light, but in quiet surrender. You realize that dying is not always physical. Sometimes it's the ego that dies, the identities that crumble, the masks that melt away. In the heat of grace, this death is sacred. It's not destruction, it's purification. Because for the true self to rise, the false must fall. And as you sit in that stillness, you begin to grieve the person you once were. You whisper farewells to dreams that no longer align, to people who can no longer walk beside you, to parts of you that no longer belong to your becoming. And through that grief, a strange peace begins to form. The peace of release, the peace of truth, the peace of knowing you are finally being emptied of everything that kept you from God. This is why silence is sacred, because it holds the funeral for who you were and the womb for who you are becoming, the voice beyond thought. Then, when all resistance fades, something miraculous happens. A new voice begins to rise within you. Not the mind's chatter, not the echo of old pain, but a deeper knowing, the voice of the soul. It does not speak in words, but in peace. It does not argue. It simply is. This is the voice that was always there, beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath the layers of the false self. The mind speaks first and loudest, but the soul waits. It whispers only when the noise dies. And now, in the sacred silence, you can finally hear it. You realize this voice does not belong to you. It is you, the real you, the eternal one, the child of God, who never left the garden. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, ask quietly within, who am I without the stories? Who am I without the past? Who am I when I stop trying to become? The silence answers, not in language, but in presence. You are what remains when everything else is gone. This is the revelation of stillness. That what you were seeking was never separate from you. God was not lost. You were simply too loud to hear Him. Now in the silence, you, and here no longer two, you are one awareness, breathing through one being, sharing one heartbeat. The birth of clarity. The mind begins to clear. The emotions soften. The chaos that once felt unbearable now feels distant, like a storm that has finally passed. And in that clarity, you begin to see life differently, not as something to conquer, but as something to honor, not as a series of problems, but as a sacred unfolding. You begin to understand why things had to fall apart, why people had to leave, why pain had to visit. It all makes sense now. The fire was not random. The silence was not punishment. It was all orchestration, the divine preparing you to hear his voice clearly. Every heartbreak became a doorway. Every loss became a teacher. Every silence became a sermon. And now you can finally see what felt like endings were actually beginnings. You were never being destroyed. You were being refined into a vessel that could hold divine light. This is the gift of silence. It doesn't give you answers. It makes you ready to receive them. Because clarity isn't found in more information. It's found in less noise. Now, you don't need to chase God. You simply rest and let him move through you. Your thoughts become prayers. Your breath becomes worship. Your presence becomes testimony. You are no longer seeking the light. You are becoming it, the eternal stillness. Eventually, you realize the silence never left. Even as you return to the world, to people, to purpose, there is a quiet center within you that remains untouched. It is the still point, beneath all movement, the eternal calm, beneath the surface of change. This is what the sages spoke of when they said, "Be still and know that I am God." You have entered that knowing now, not through study, not through striving, but through surrender. You're no longer a seeker, looking for God outside of yourself. You are awareness, recognizing itself as divine. And from this stillness, your entire perception changes. You no longer see enemies, only mirrors. You no longer see loss, only transformation. You no longer see separation, only one life, expressing itself through infinite forms. The silence has spoken, and its message is eternal. You were never alone. You were never lost. You were never separate. All that fell away was illusion. All that remains is truth. And in that stillness, the voice of God whispers, not as something external, but as your very being, "Be still." You are home. Silence was never empty. It was full of God. And in learning to listen, you have remembered who you truly are. Chapter 5. The Rebirth of Light. The night was long. It felt endless. But no night lasts forever. And now, a faint glow begins to break through the horizon of your being. The sun returns, but this time, it rises within you. The dawn does not rush. It doesn't demand attention. It unfolds quietly, softly illuminating what had always been there. You begin to see life again, but through new eyes no longer clouded by fear, but cleansed by understanding. You realize nothing was ever truly lost. It was only transformed. The pain that once imprisoned you has become the very doorway to peace. The chaos that once consumed you has become the ground of clarity. And the person you were before the storm could never have understood this peace. Close your eyes. Take a slow breath. Feel the warmth returning to your heart. That warmth is grace. That peace is resurrection. You are no longer who you were. You have been made new. This is the secret of rebirth. You don't become someone else. You simply remember who you truly are. The light never left. You just had to walk through the dark to see it clearly again. The return of the soul, when the mind is silent and the heart is open. The soul returns to its rightful throne. You begin to live, not from fear, but from presence, not from control, but from surrender. There is a quiet strength now, a peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. You have tasted something eternal. And once you taste eternity, the temporary can no longer rule you. You walk differently now. You speak with gentleness, not weakness. You love with depth, not attachment. You move with clarity, not haste, because your energy no longer leaks into resistance. You are no longer at war with life. You have found harmony between what is and what can be. This is the true awakening, not escaping the world, but walking through it. As light, you begin to notice beauty again. The way light dances through leaves. The way silence hums between sounds. The way your breath moves through your chest. Each moment becomes holy. Each breath becomes a prayer. Each step becomes communion. And somewhere deep within, you whisper, I understand now. The suffering was not my enemy. It was my initiation, the wisdom of the wound. Every wound once burned. Every scar once wept. But now, they shine like sacred inscriptions on the skin of your soul. Because wounds, when healed, become windows. Through them, the light of God shines. You realize that healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering without pain. The wound becomes wisdom, a living reminder of what love can survive. You see now why God allowed the breaking. Because only a broken heart can truly hold compassion. Only an emptied vessel can be filled with light. You no longer wish to erase your story. You bow to it. You thank it because it made you see. Pain taught you to listen. Silence taught you to trust. And now, light teaches you to live. Close your eyes once more. Take a deep breath. Touch your chest. Every heartbeat you feel is a reminder. You survived what once tried to destroy you. But more than survival, you were transformed. The dance of grace. Now that you've been reborn, life begins to move differently. You start to notice that grace was always choreographing your steps. Even when you stumbled, you were still within its rhythm. Because grace doesn't prevent the fall. It redeems it. It doesn't erase the past. It transforms it. You look back now and see that every detour had divine purpose. Every closed door was protection. Every delay was preparation. You were never being punished. You were being positioned. And through this realization, your heart softens even more. You forgive easily. You bless freely. You trust deeply because you see the divine hand in everything. This is what it means to walk in grace, to no longer demand life to go your way, but to let it unfold God's way. You learn that surrender is not defeat, it's divine alignment. When you surrender, you don't lose control. You return it to the one who never lost it. Grace becomes your rhythm. Peace becomes your language. Love becomes your strength. You begin to glow, not because life is easy, but because you found something unshakable within it, the light within all things. As your awareness deepens, you begin to see the light in everything. You see it in strangers' eyes. You see it in moments of silence. You see it even in pain, because now you understand that everything is a mirror of the same presence. You no longer divide life into good and bad, light and dark, gain and loss. You see one motion, one heartbeat, one divine expression, moving through all things. This is the fruit of your suffering. Vision, not the sight of the eyes, but the seeing of the soul. You can now look upon darkness and whisper, there too God dwells. You can look upon pain and say, this too is love in disguise. You can look upon your past and declare, nothing was wasted. Everything served the awakening of my soul. And so, you rise, not as who you were, but as who you've always been, a radiant expression of divine consciousness, clothed in human form. You walk the earth, not to escape suffering, but to transmute it wherever you go. You speak light into heavy hearts. You breathe peace into chaos. You love without fear, because you've become what suffering was trying to teach you all along, the embodiment of God's light. Now place your hand upon your heart. Feel it beat. Feel it speak. Repeat softly within, I am not what has happened to me. I am what I have become through it. I am the light that was born through the fire. I am the silence that speaks of peace. I am the love that remains when all else falls away. Let these words settle into your being. Let them remind you that rebirth is not a moment. It's a way of living. Every breath is a new beginning. Every sunrise, a resurrection. You are not waiting for heaven. You are carrying it within you. And now, wherever you walk, the light walks with you. The suffering became the teacher. The silence became the temple. And the light became you. Chapter 6. The Sacred Integration. After every deep awakening, there comes a quiet question. How do I live now? Because after touching eternity, the world can feel unfamiliar. After seeing through illusion, it's strange to walk among those still dreaming. But this too is part of the path. You are not meant to escape the world. You are meant to return to it, transformed. The mountain is not the destination. It is the training ground. You climb it to see clearly, to remember truth, to dissolve the false self. But once you see, you must descend again, bringing that light back down to the valley. Integration is the descent. If the awakened soul learns to walk again in a world that hasn't yet remembered itself. And this is sacred work, because your presence itself becomes the teaching. Now you speak gently, act intentionally, and love fiercely, not because you're trying to be holy, but because holiness has become your nature. You live no longer to escape pain, but to transmute it into wisdom. For those still trapped within it, you've become the mirror that reflects what's possible, a human life infused with divine awareness. Living between two worlds, you now live between two dimensions, the infinite and the finite, the unseen and the seen. There's a tension here, but it's holy. You are spirit in form, heaven in a body, eternity moving through time. And learning to walk between these worlds is the essence of integration. You'll still feel human things, hunger, doubt, frustration, grief. But now you meet them differently. You no longer identify with them. You witness them. You watch thoughts rise and fall, like clouds drifting across a vast sky. You feel emotions move through you without drowning in them. You know that what you feel is not who you are. Integration doesn't mean you never fall. It means you fall consciously. You rise consciously. You live consciously. Each moment becomes your meditation. Each breath becomes your prayer. And through this awareness, the divine begins to express itself through your humanity. You don't try to be spiritual anymore. You are spirituality itself, breathing, moving, laughing, loving, living in simplicity and grace, the balance of being and doing. The awakened life is not lived in extremes. It's a dance between stillness and motion, being and doing, silence and speech. The world will try to pull you into its endless doing. But now you know your power is not in striving. It's in stillness. Stillness does not mean inactivity. It means alignment. When your actions rise from stillness, they carry divine precision. They are no longer reactions. They are expressions of truth. So now, you move with intention. You speak less, but every word carries weight. You do less, but every act ripples with purpose. You no longer rush to manifest. You let what is true unfold in divine timing. This balance between being and doing is the rhythm of creation itself. When you rest in being, you align with God. When you act from that stillness, you express God. You become both, the silence and the song, loving without attachment. Now comes the greatest initiation of all, to love, not from need, but from wholeness. The old way of loving was based on fear. It said, don't leave me, complete me, Make me feel safe. But the awakened heart loves differently. It says, I see you. I honor you. I set you free. You love now, not to possess, but to bless, not to fill a void, but to share an overflowing cup. Because you've learned that love is not something you get. It's what you are. You understand now why God allows the breaking of hearts. Because only through breaking can love be purified of its conditions. Now your love carries no demands, no control, no fear. It flows freely, like light. You can hold space for another's pain without losing your peace. You can forgive easily because you see the innocence beneath the wound. To love without attachment is to live as God loves, completely, without measure, without fear of loss. Because when love no longer clings, it becomes infinite, the divine rhythm of everyday life. Integration means you bring the sacred into the simple. Washing dishes becomes meditation. Walking becomes prayer. Listening becomes devotion. You begin to see that every ordinary moment is infused with divine intelligence. There are no more spiritual or unspiritual activities, only awareness or forgetfulness. So you live awake. Whether you're sitting in silence or standing in traffic, you feel God not only in temples, but in laughter, in heartbreak, in the sound of rain on your window. You begin to see heaven in the smallest gestures, in a child's smile, in a stranger's kindness, in your own breath. This is integration, to live as if God is everywhere, because He is. And the more you honor the present moment, the more the divine reveals itself through it. The humility of light. True awakening does not make you grand. It makes you humble, because you realize you did not awaken yourself. Grace did. You simply surrendered. You stopped fighting. You allowed love to lead. And in that allowing, God revealed Himself as your very being. Now you walk softly. You speak gently. You listen deeply, because you understand that every soul you meet is another face of the divine, still remembering itself. You carry wisdom without pride, power without arrogance, light without noise. You become invisible in the eyes of the world, yet luminous in the realm of spirit. This is true mastery, to live in the world, and yet belong fully to God, living as the bridge. Integration means becoming the bridge between heaven and earth, spirit and form, God and creation. Your life becomes a living transmission. Your presence itself becomes prayer. You are not here to escape the world. You are here to heal it through the quiet radiance of your being. You don't need to preach. You don't need to convince. You simply are, and through your being, others remember their own light. This is the ripple of awakening. This is how the world changes, not through force, but through the silent contagion of truth. You're the living bridge now. Heaven walks in you. God speaks through you. Love breathes as you. You have become the message. Integration is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of true living. Because the purpose of awakening was never to escape the world, but to remember God within it. And now, you live as that remembrance. Every breath a prayer, every step a blessing, every moment a sacred meeting between Creator and creation. Chapter 7, The Return to Peace. You have walked through the valley of shadows. You have wrestled with the silence. You have cried rivers that no one saw. But look at you now. There is a quiet strength resting in your eyes. There is a knowing in your breath. You are not who you were when the pain began. Something has shifted. Something sacred has taken root. You have stopped running from your wounds and started listening to them. You have stopped blaming the storm and started learning from the rain. There was a time you thought peace meant never feeling pain again. Now you know peace is the gentle acceptance within the pain. It is the grace to remain open when life closes in, when suffering becomes the teacher. You stop asking, "Why me?" and begin whispering, "Thank you," because even the ache was holy. Even the breaking was divine. Each piece of your shattered self has become a mirror, reflecting the face of God back to you. Every scar tells a story of resurrection. Every tear holds the memory of your awakening. You have become whole not because the pain is gone, but because you're no longer separate from it. You have learned to hold it as part of your becoming. This is the birth of divine peace, not the peace that the world gives, the peace that surpasses understanding, the peace that comes from dying before you die. So nothing in this world can destroy you anymore. Living is light. Now you walk differently, not with the rush of survival, but with the stillness of one who has seen eternity within. There's no need to prove anything, no urge to fix everyone. You have seen that love does not demand perfection. It invites presence. And when you are present, you carry heaven wherever you go. You begin to notice how light pours through the cracks of your humanity, how kindness feels like sunlight, how forgiveness opens hidden gates in the heart. You start to see people differently too. You see their pain beneath the surface. You see the frightened child behind their anger. And you no longer judge, you bless. Because you remember what it was like to be lost, to be blind, to scream in silence. So now you walk gently. You speak slowly. You love freely. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are revealing God through your being. That's what living as light means. It's not about escaping the darkness. It's about learning to shine through it. You have become what the fire could not burn. You have become what death cannot end. The divine has written itself through your life. Every wound now reads as wisdom. Every fall now feels like grace. And the same pain that once tore you apart now teaches others how to heal. You, my friend, are no longer a student of suffering. You are its living scripture, the blessing of being. Take a breath. Feel the stillness that has always been here. Even when your world was collapsing, this stillness never left. It was here waiting beneath the noise, beneath the tears, beneath the questions and the chaos. It was always God. It was always love. It was always you. This is the blessing of being, the realization that you were never lost. You were only being led home. Home was never a place. It was this presence, this awareness, this heartbeat that quietly whispers, "I am with you, always." Every lesson, every fall, every moment of surrender was preparing you to remember this truth. That peace is not found, it's revealed. That you are not separate from God. You are His reflection. The storm was never sent to destroy you. It came to unveil you, to remind you of what cannot be broken, of what cannot be taken, of what cannot die. And now, you stand at the end, not as a victim of pain, but as the vessel of wisdom. You have seen that every moment, even the unbearable ones, was a doorway to divine understanding. Suffering was never the enemy. It was the silent messenger of awakening. You don't need to chase meaning anymore. You are the meaning. You don't need to seek light anymore. You are the light. Just breathe and be. That's enough. Because being itself is prayer. Being itself is union. Being itself is love made visible. Every wound is a whisper from God. Every tear is a baptism of light. Every ending is the beginning of grace. When suffering becomes the teacher, you realize it was never punishment. It was the path to your becoming. You have learned that God was never far away. He was the voice in your pain, the warmth in your tears, the hand that held you when no one saw. And now, you were never breaking. You were blooming. The light was born in you. Through every shadow you survived. So go now. Live as peace. Live as presence. Live as love. Because the teacher has done its work. And you are the lesson made flesh. Amen.